Hello, everyone. This is Aryanna Prasad. I'm here today with Ashmere Prasad. No relation, just good friends. We're here to talk some football. We're here, as always, to talk some football on Sunday Slate. And if you saw our banner, I know we were supposed to go live at 8, but like your stimulus checks, we're late, but we are worth the wait. So we're finally here. It's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, and we're ready to talk football. Ashmere, how are you doing today?
Okay, did you come cheesy today? Because I loved your whole intro. That was awesome.
Well, I hope it wasn't cheesy, but thank you. I had a little bit of time to think about it.
No, it was smart. We've all been waiting for that stimulus check. I loved it.
I have not got mine. So.
Oh, yes. I did.
Oh. Well, no, I think direct deposit. I was, foolish about it, and I'm doing the mail. I was super lazy even last year. So still waiting on that stimulus check. We will see. We have the inauguration tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But all right. But yeah, we're here to talk football today. And this past weekend was the Divisional Round. And yeah, there were some pretty interesting games, although I will say actually for all of them, the favorites won this week. So no crazy upsets. We did have a little bit of revenge going on, which is always fun. But we're going to start with what we're calling, hold on, y'all, I got a cool banner for this one, the Bakeouts. So unfortunately for Browns fans, you know what I'm talking about. But the Bakeout is the fact that the Chiefs beat the Browns. It was 22-17, so it's actually a lot closer than many expected. But the Chiefs came out with the win with this one, even though Mahomes got hurt during the game and Kenny came in. He still executed. And but Mahomes is actually hurt with a concussion. And Ashmere was telling me a little bit about concussion protocol. So Ashmere, could you explain a little bit better about what Mahomes is going through this week and when we can expect him back because of this protocol?
Yeah, sure. So in the beginning of the season, they take mental awareness surveys for all players. They check their vision, they check their stability, they check their balance, they check just about everything, because as we know, football is such a contact sport that it's important to check on their brains every single week, every single game. So at the beginning of the season, before any practices, any hard hitting starts, and this very weird season, I'm sure they did this extra carefully. They check all of these different things for every player so that when they come back after each game, they have something to compare it to. So how close is each player to normal? How well is their vision? How well is their balance? How well are they handling the ball? Can they carry on a conversation, or they don't fade in and out of a play or something along those lines. So just to fall back on those things is what Patrick Mahomes needs to do in order to pass the protocol process. He needs to, you're not going to be 100%, right? We're in the 19th week of the NFL or one or the other. And so he's not going to be at the 100% he was when the season started, but he needs to be well within the range that he isn't concussed. It's not going to cause more swelling to his brain to play this weekend, especially such a huge game. So that's the importance of the protocol. And I actually, when I was learning about it, I thought that was really cool, because nobody really understands, unless they're a player, what goes on behind the scenes and what makes them eligible to continue for the rest of the season. So fun fact for everybody.
Yeah, that was a lot of interesting information that you just gave us. So thank you for that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with concussion protocol, it's hard to know it's a brain bruise. So of course it's difficult to know. It's really interesting that they actually take these benchmarks, and that's what they're using throughout the season. So but yeah, so this is something that Mahomes is going to be going through this week. And if he's out, they have a 30% chance of winning. But if Mahomes is in, it's a 61% chance. So yeah, that's a pretty crazy stat. So Mahomes makes a really big difference. But, Mahomes did have to congratulate the guy who came in for him. So anything is possible. I love that. Ashmere sent me this one. So I thought that was great. But yeah, and actually a little bit more good news for the Chiefs is that the Walter Payton Man of the Year award came out, and it went to none other than tight end Travis Kelce. So we got to congratulate him. And so his two organizations that he is working with are the 87 and Running Foundation, the Operation Breakthrough. So charity is a really big thing in the NFL. I know we haven't talked about it a lot in this show, but in the past we have talked about just charity being a big thing. A lot of players love to use that platform. So Ashmere, I feel like you're a pretty big Kelce fan. So are you happy he won Man of the Year?
Am I a Kelce fan? Is there something I don't know?
Oh, well, you are a Raiders fan, but I
No,
hear you
no, no.
talk
I do. I
about.
think Travis Kelce is somebody that deserves a lot of credit. I think he plays very well on the field and he does a lot to give back to the community. I think this is like the second time he's been nominated or something. I could be incorrect, but I know that he's always posting about giving back on all his socials. He's like all about, being a bigger part of what he is, which is an athlete. And so I always appreciate people like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I only say that you're a Kelsey fan because I think any of us who play fantasy football are. You kind of
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah. He saved my life. Yeah.
So Kelsey saved all of our lives at some point. Now he has the opportunity to save many others because actually with the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, they actually give you $250,000 for those charities. So congrats to him helping out a lot of people. But I apologize. It's $25,000, not $250,000. But is there anything you want to discuss from this particular game? I know that we were kind of hoping last week with our guest Gabriel Kramer that the Browns would pull through, but it was the Chiefs who won this. But yeah, there was a particular 4th and 9 play that I feel that things could have gone differently. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that was the turning point, as we like to say in sports or in any story of life. That was the moment that I think the Browns could have clinched this win. And to punt the ball back to Andy Reid when Andy Reid's winning, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I understand you have 9 yards to go, but you literally have nothing to lose except the game. And I think that play was where, even if Baker attempted a 15-yard pass and, was batted down or something bad happened, I think at least you should have tried, like why didn't they try?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I guess you want to play it safe, so that's why you're punting and you think that that's going to give your team enough room instead of trying to go for it. 4th and 9, usually I understand teams wouldn't go for that during the regular season, but it's in the playoffs. So I understand that things are a little bit different and sometimes it's a little bit hard to gauge things, but ended up, the Browns did lose this one. Who knows if they could have gotten it then and maybe they could have won the game. We'll never know, but they did advance further in the playoffs. So we're happy for the Browns and their fan base, and let's hope they continue going on. But speaking of a fan base speaking of a team that's on the come up and a very happy fan base, we want to talk about the 716 Mafia. If you remember 36 Mafia, we thought that was a fun little reference. So 716 is the area code. My Western New Yorkers know this. 716 Mafia, that's the Bills Mafia, and they ended up winning their game against the Ravens. They dominated. It was 17-3. And it was 2 great quarterbacks, but as I tweeted, don't have to tweet, but if you take out Lamar Jackson's ability to run, you basically just knock out his game. And that's what happened in this game. So Lamar Jackson wasn't able to run all that well, and I have the stats there for you. So 14 out of 24 passes, 162 passing yards, and I wrote this a little bit weird, but it's 9 rushes for 34 yards, okay? So, Ashmere, what are you thinking about this Bills-Ravens game? Were you surprised by the outcome, or, did the favorites just win again?
Last week we were making fun of the rushing game from the Ravens because Lamar, I think they had over 200 total and Lamar himself had 100 over. So we were like, Lamar he had half of the rushing yards for the entire team. Yeah. And now that they're losing Mark Ingram, just to bring up some cap space, I think the Ravens are looking for a better running game so they don't have to depend on Lamar Jackson. And like you said, eliminating that basically eliminated half of the offense because the Bills defense kind of came out of nowhere. Like they, throughout the season, I don't think there was enough credit being given to them because they were making some mistakes. They weren't very good on the pass rush, like just little things that could have made them, a stellar defense. And they showed out this weekend. 3 points. I mean, literally only to a field goal. No way did Lamar get close to the end zone and score a touchdown, which is like even Lamar runs his own touchdown into the end zone. And so for him to be limited to simply a field goal and the Bills to score 2 touchdowns in the third and just win the game, I overall think, the Bills came to play. They're ready to go to the Super Bowl and now face Patrick Mahomes, which if they're going to face him, we're not sure yet. But yeah, I think so far the Bills have proved their worth. And I last week, you and I were on a different show, but we were talking about how we kind of like offenses and we were getting made fun of defenses. And now I think defenses are really showing out. And this was one of the games where I was like, wow, this Bills defense can really stop a quarterback such as Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I think is a big thing out of this matchups is actually you have 4 of arguably the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Well, they're in the top 5, I would say. The top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, I would argue that Deshaun Watson deserves a spot in there.
Yeah, our one outlier.
Our one outlier, he actually had the best, like in so many different categories, the best stats of any quarterback this season. So Deshaun's awesome. But, the remaining teams that we have left, they also have really strong defenses. And I like that in all of these games that we saw, there were actually a lot of weaknesses on these teams that lost that really came to light. And in the regular season, you think the Ravens are dominant, and sometimes you don't see those weaknesses. I think the Seahawks are a great example of that. We saw Russell Wilson was so strong, the defense was strong, but Russell Wilson started failing towards the end of the season, and it just showed in the playoffs. They lost their game. We're going to get into that, who they lost to in a minute. But with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, that is how their offense runs, is on the run game. So all that any team has to do, a good team, is just stop that, eliminate that one dimension of their offense, and then they don't really have anything else. So if you are able to, stop Lamar Jackson, you win the game. So that's what the Bills did. And, Josh Allen is dominant. He's a gunslinger like Mahomes. And I think we're both really looking forward to that. These are actually Josh Allen's stats from. So he's 23 out of 37 passes, 206 yards, and average yards 5.6. So that's incredible for a passer, especially at this level in the playoffs. I did notice that a lot of these dominant quarterbacks had less passing yards than they did last week. Like Brady had over 300 yards. This week he had 199. So Aaron Rodgers still showed out. Of course, he's incredible, MVP. But yeah, that was an interesting thing. And we were talking about it's interesting that the AFC kind of has the future of the NFL with these two gunslingers, Mahomes and Allen. And the NFC is the veteran QBs and Brady and Rodgers. So I just love these two matchups that came out of this weekend.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see who makes it moving forward. It's going to be one of the top younger quarterbacks against one of the top veteran quarterbacks. And I think that's just so exciting. It's almost like emotional. Like, what is that beautiful word? It's like poetic, like they're bringing in these two elite, but at two different times in their lives. Like Brady could retire after this, like if he goes to the Super Bowl. It's like, wow, it's like touching my heartstrings.
No, I agree. I think it's definitely a fairy tale story, whoever makes it. If the Bills get there, that'll be so incredible for them. They haven't been since the 90s to the Super Bowl. Mahomes getting it for his second year, Rodgers getting another ring, Brady getting another ring, no matter which way it goes.
I know.
It's going to be
right now.
So this is a great thing for all football fans. But there was one team that went and packed it up, and that was the Rams. They packed it up in Green Bay for a very cold and snowy game this week. So the Rams packed it up, and it was 32-18. Now, the Rams did beat the Seahawks last week, but they lost this week to the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, again, he showed out. Sorry, I don't have the stats on me, but Aaron Rodgers was incredible in this game. But it was an emotional moment. Like we were just talking about the fairy tale ending. Well, some of the fairy tales ended early for some players. So some players got emotional. And I'm just going to share that real quick.
Home field advantage all season long. You can show these statistics about it. You saw it last week in Super Wildcard Weekend. But this place is unique. And them having...
So that was dominant... defensive tackle Aaron Donald, and he was getting emotional on the sideline, which is understandable, and people didn't really make fun of him for it, except for some people, which would be the Seahawks. So actually last week, I just wrote an article about this for SI, but Jalen Ramsey called out the Seahawks and said, head on down to Cabo, like your season's over. Okay, so, just head to the beach. Bye, guys. So this is what Jamal had to say. Young Cabo, bring your own damn cigars too, because after a press conference, after clinching the division, Jamal Adams pulled out a cigar and was puffing a few weeks ago, and the Rams did not like that. I have all the details there in the article. And then Quandre Diggs had to follow up with it. Don't worry, this Cabo sun will thaw y'all out. Make sure Buddy with the foggy glasses come too. So,
I love
foggy glasses. I love the banter. So the foggy glasses, of course, are referring to Aaron Donald, who was just crying. But Ashmere, how do you feel about this Twitter energy and this back and forth?
Yeah, no, I love any type of banter. I think I tweeted during the Saints and the Bucks game too. Like, I love all these little petty fights. Like, it makes it like feel like, it's a true competition. And I feel like in the NFL, a lot of negative actions or like celebratory actions, they're always being fined for them, or they're always being told you can't do that, or like they're always being penalized for them. And so now that they're able to like let it go a little bit and like pull back the reins, I think it makes it, they're playing a game that's their livelihood at the same time, right? Like, they got emotions, they have feelings, they need to let them out. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I love it. And I love people are talking about, of course, like Juju and the Steelers and that kind of
Mhm.
energy, like talking trash after the game or saying they're going to lose. I just thought this was funny because it was just laughing at the fact that they lost, not necessarily saying anything. Like, as far as I know, not saying anything like, okay, well, you're going to face the Packers, but it was just like, haha, no, see you guys in Cabo, I guess. So I think it's a little bit different. And I think that that's funny. But yeah, I love this whole exchange and just keeping the banter going, keeping the rivalry alive. But yeah, so but that was a Packers game. Aaron Rodgers, of course, showed out strong, connected with Devontae Adams, who, if you had him in fantasy this year, you're thanking your stars, and he kill it. In the postseason, Aaron Jones, they're letting him run. They didn't do that a few seasons ago under Mike McCarthy, but since switching, and now they have Matt LaFleur. But Packers are doing well. They're going on to the Super Bowl, and yeah, but that was an incredible game. I guess Ashmere and I thought the Packers would win. Some people pulled for the Rams, but
Is that your prediction? You think the Packers are going to the Super Bowl?
Oh no, we're gonna get into that. But
I was like, wow, you're telling everyone already?
No, I was saying we just expected it during this game, of course. But the last game that we had, as you can see, I'm wearing a Saints hat. You guys may know I'm from Louisiana, so I'll always be a Saints fan at heart. So this is definitely the hardest game to watch. And it was the Who Dat, We Dat. So give me 1 second. Oh, sorry. This is the GM from Tampa Bay. So he said "we dat" after the game, and I thought it was just hilarious because I don't see GMs really ever coming in and talking. But so yeah, so the Buccaneers won this game, and it was 30-20. And this is a very close game between two veteran quarterbacks, and that is Drew Brees and Tom Brady. And there's just a lot from this game, but yeah, I apologize. Here are Drew Brees' stats from the game. So 19 out of 34 passes, 134 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. So that was, I think, the big story of this game is the Saints came in dominant, and there was so much going for them on their team. But ultimately, Drew Brees, unfortunately, he kind of lost the game because toward the end of the season, his arm hasn't been as strong. So what was your reaction from the game and just seeing his play go down throughout the game?
I was thinking the Saints could have played better offensively. The defense, I think, did a very good job of holding back the key receivers, the same people that we've been talking about week after week, time and again. Mike Evans only had 3 receiving yards, one pass to him. So, I mean, that's like a big deal. I think Mike Evans is usually leading alongside Godwin, and it wasn't either one of them. It was Cameron Brate, the tight end. I think this is like tight end redemption time because I didn't talk about this in the Packers one, but Tonyan has been making his come through as well. So I just think this is like a tight end league right now, especially with Chiefs playing Kelsey, like you mentioned. Like, it's a lot of tight end heavy. But I think that the mistakes that were made by Drew Brees really cost the team. And I think you were saying it earlier when we were talking, there was time for Brees to make a smarter decision. The pocket wasn't closing on him. The defense wasn't like, he wasn't about to be sacked or anything. He had time to make more efficient plays. And I think those 3 interceptions just really gave the Bucs like the light that they needed to win this game. And I don't think Tom Brady was playing that well, to be quite honest. I think we've seen him play far better football. And because the defense was doing so well, I think that's what made them not play so well. But because Drew Brees had his own negative things, his own turnovers, that's what assisted the Bucs to win, So I just think overall, like, this could have been a Saints win. And without those turnovers, I think that could have been the case. We could be talking a way different story today.
Right. And so the Saints, yeah, completely. The Saints punt returner gave the Saints such an advantage entering the game. But to go off what you said about Brady, this wasn't his best game. So it was 18 out of 33, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So we saw a better showing from him last week. Of course, that was from the Washington football team. But, these are division rivals. And a lot of the big storyline leading into this game was it being another revenge game. So the Bucs lost twice to the Saints in the regular season. So a lot of people, weren't sure how things were going to go, and maybe the Saints will pull this one through, but the Bucs have been, getting a lot stronger. But ultimately, yeah, it was Drew Brees' arm, so he was only able to really throw short passes. And for that big pass to Traquan Smith for the touchdown on that trick play, they actually stole from the Bears. But they brought in Jameis Winston, who was the Tampa Bay quarterback, of course. But they brought in Jameis Winston. They had to bring in another quarterback to execute that throw. So if you watch the game closely, Drew Brees was really only making short passes, and as Ashmere mentioned, he threw 2 interceptions in a clean pocket, and one of them, if you Saints fans remember in the game, of course, he's trying to throw, and just swoops right in. It's on a slant, so he was getting pressured, and he threw that, but. Yeah, so it wasn't, but the saddest thing about all of this, of course, is I know in Louisiana we talk a little bit about the Saints being cursed, Minneapolis Miracle, and then there was a call in the Rams game. So I just want to share this with you guys. The Saints have been eliminated from the NFL playoffs, and this is their 3rd straight home playoff loss. And that's really hard because, as we know, this is actually a really good team. They make the playoffs so often. They've been strong. They're a stable organization with Sean Payton, and they've had Drew Brees at the helm all this time. But he may hang it up after this year. So that was a big storyline coming out of the game. And there was a beautiful moment, though, that a lot of journalists were commenting on, and I just want to share that with you guys. And this is the 2 greats coming together after the game. So this was a beautiful moment that transcends football, but it was just these 2 greats coming together. They're actually friends in real life. They texted before the game. But, fans might talk trash and do all this stuff, and maybe the fans of Tampa Bay and New Orleans don't like each other. The actual quarterbacks and leaders of these teams do. They have so much respect for each other. So, Ashley, what did you think about the video? Did you get to see it on the timeline?
Oh yeah, I posted on my Instagram story. I loved it. I just think it gave everyone another perspective on how this is truly a life-changing moment for Drew Brees, right? That could be the last time he steps onto that field, being a part of that team, bringing them to where they are through this COVID pandemic, may I add. The work that they've done and the team that they've made and the energy that the Saints hold, I think is so true to who Drew Brees is as well. So I loved seeing it come full circle and having Tom Brady throw a touchdown pass to one of his kids. It was just, I was like, oh, is this not the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life? I loved it. I mean, no, there are cuter things, but definitely top 25 cutest things I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, how are you feeling? Do you think this is really Drew Brees' last game?
I don't know. I don't really see, honestly, how he can go through another season. Obviously, he fractured all those ribs this season, and it's tough. And we saw his arm faltering through the playoffs. I don't think that they could have made it through the Super Bowl. So even if he comes in next year, they're going to need quarterback help. So it's a lot on the bodies and then also the families. He has a bunch of young kids. So I know Drew Brees loves New Orleans, and I know that he did this season for the city, which is something so many people are thankful for. But it's so hard to see him go. I remember last season, I did not want to accept that Tom Brady was leaving New England. So I was just like, no, it's not true. I refuse to believe it. And then it happened, and look where we are. So maybe next year I'll be saying the same thing. I don't want to think Drew's leaving New Orleans, but there comes a time for everything. But this was, I guess, a really beautiful and poignant ending to all that time there. And just imagine, being on that field, all those games, and his kids are just playing around almost as if they're unaware of the magnitude of that moment. But one funny thing in the video, I don't know if you caught it, but Tom Brady said to one of his sons, "Be nice to your sister," and the kid goes, "No." I thought that was fun. It's like these kids are hanging out with these superstars. We'd all be
Totally.
It's just daddy's friend, So I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But
other people would be like, "Oh my God, starstruck," and this is like, "Oh, it's my dad's friend." No big deal.
Right. So, but yeah, that was a beautiful moment from this game. I do want to add, though, actually, when the team went back in the locker room, there was a funny thing that I also noticed in the background. I'm going to share that with you guys real quick. And this is, as you know, a lot of players love to brag in the locker room after winning a game. So they'll go on IG Live. And this is Jason Pierre-Paul. He went back in the Tampa Bay locker room, and they were playing something interesting.
Game over. We won. What you gotta say, Shaq, dog?
We up in this thing. Packers, we coming for y'all, boys.
We coming, baby. Y'all in trouble. We coming.
So I don't know if you guys recognize that song, but it's actually Back from the NO, recorded by none other than Antonio Brown. So last year he went on that little interlude where he's trying to get off his rap career, which we've seen a few NFL players do. But I actually like that song. I thought some of his songs were catchy. Some of them I was like, what the heck? But that song, I mean, it's a bop. Like, it's fun. So, but it actually came in handy in this game. So they just came back from the NO. So, but yeah, I guess a little saltiness, a little bit more of that revenge. You guys didn't take me. So that's been here through the playoffs. But if the revenge narrative continues, the Packers will be getting their revenge against the Bucs. It did lose to them in the regular season.
Oh yeah, 38-10. That was like a killer game.
Yeah, that was. And I mean, we saw, Drew Brees and his team defeated Tom Brady. It was, I believe, 38-3. So and then it can happen to the greats. But speaking of the greats, we just want to give a moment. We didn't have a guest this week, as you guys may know. So we wanted to give our guest spot to shine a spotlight on our two different GOATs. So we have different GOATs for different folks. And what we mean by that is there's always this argument of like who the best quarterback in the NFL is of all time. And there's so many different ways you can argue this. And we just weren't interested in arguing who's the best, but we just want to talk about why these two can make their own case. Like, they're just so fantastic at different things. So these are different GOATs for different folks. But I had a little something I wanted to show Ashmere because, I don't know, Ashmere, are you a fan of The Good Place? Have you seen that show?
Oh, I love it. I'm on the season finale.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Love the show. I don't know if you guys have checked it out. Hilarious. But this is a moment from the show. And this is what I imagine Ashmere thinks is going on inside my head. So, of course, in The Good Place.
Awesome. That's what I think.
Yes. Yeah, this is what she thinks. All right, guys. So
every time we do a show together, especially before this Saints and Bucks matchup, I was like, just so everybody knows, Aryanna's from Louisiana, but she loves Tom Brady. I was like, she's a Patriots girl, but she's like loves Tom Brady. And now she's a Bucks girl, and I like always bring that up because it's important to know that she's like literally living two lives here. Okay.
I am, and it's confusing at all times. I also cover the Seahawks, so I'm a mixed personality.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on inside my head about Tom. But I also love Aaron Rodgers. There's no competition in my heart for these two. Like, they're both fantastic, great at different things. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. But Ashmere, do you want to go first? What are some of the things that you think Aaron Rodgers is the best at?
Okay, I'm going to make this a pop culture conversation for like 25 seconds. But on The Bachelor, Aaron Rodgers' brother was there, and he used to talk all this smack about Aaron Rodgers and how he like didn't come back to the family and blase, whatever. So after that, I was like, dang, I don't really know if I like Aaron anymore. Like, you don't see the inside view of other people until somebody else brings it to light. And then he started dating Danica, I think, the race car driver. So I was like, what is Aaron Rodgers' real personality? Like, what is this man truly like? Like, he seems low-key mean. Then his brother comes on The Bachelor and says that he is mean. So I was like, how much more confirmation do I need about this man? But whatever. Aside from that, I think Aaron Rodgers, as you mentioned earlier, is on his way to an MVP title. He's been playing phenomenally. I mean, he only lost 2 games to the Colts and to the Bucks. He's performed so well with the team. The chemistry is there. The energy is there. Devontae Adams is literally top 10 receiver right now. Like, you couldn't ask for more things to go right for Aaron Rodgers. And beating Tom Brady when he's supposedly supposed to bring the Super Bowl back to Tampa Bay and, you know, bring them out of this rut and all these things, so on and so forth. I think Aaron Rodgers is like, you forgot about me, dog. I don't know how easy you thought this journey was going to be. But the stats for the two of them, as we were, I don't know if we're going to cover them together or not. Did you have a pick?
I'm sorry, what?
Did we have a graphic comparing the two?
We did not have a graphic.
Okay, whatever. Just so everybody knows, they're almost like 5% difference between one another. And the one thing that I think is the most important is that Tom Brady is picked off more than Aaron Rodgers is, even though Aaron Rodgers threw a handful of picks against their last matchup, right? So I think that's something to take into consideration for this game. But I don't know. I'm predicting the Packers to win. I have to say it because of the way that Aaron is carrying the team. The defense showed out last week against a Rams defense who was supposed to just slaughter, you know, whatever Aaron Rodgers could throw their way, and they barely could. And Goff was sacked a nice couple times, which is like very rare for the Packers apparently because they're not that good on defense. So I just think the cards are all falling where they should for the Packers, and that's going to lead them to a win. But you also can't doubt your man, Tom Brady. So what do you think?
Yeah, I do want to, just because you brought the Rams back up, our friend Henry came and commented saying the Rams will come back. So, hey,
maybe next year.
I hope not. Maybe next year, but I hope not, as someone who covers the Seahawks. No, I'm joking, but we love you, Henry. Yeah, so Tom Brady in the playoffs, this is actually his 14th championship game. And just think about that for a second. Like, all these seasons, he's just been in the playoffs like pretty much just 1 year he hasn't made the playoffs. You know, even last year when people were talking trash about that team and how they were falling, they still won 12 games. Like, every single year Tom Brady's making the playoffs. So to me, it's like, if you're going to put money on any guy, it's him. But if there's any guy who can beat him, it's Aaron Rodgers. So in some ways, sometimes the championship rounds feels more competitive than the Super Bowl. And while I think, of course, the AFC has very talented quarterbacks, we talked about them, this matchup is just so huge. It is basically like a Super Bowl. But as far as like what Aaron Rodgers does well, you mentioned the interceptions thing, and that is a good thing to point out about Rodgers because he takes calculated risks. So he may not make the same deep passes, but when he makes them, he knows he can make them. And that's something that a lot of people give him a lot of credit for because it helps his, you know, interception ratio. He has so few interceptions compared to a lot of other greats. So that's one thing that Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at in all of history, right? And another great thing, and I think this is a big thing that people talk about, you know, Tom Brady is not that athletic. Aaron Rodgers is. He can make these extremely athletic throws. And of course, it's important to know, like, that's who he is. He's an incredible passer. He's able to execute these amazing bombs to the end zone. And we said, like, he's going to get the MVP this year, not Tom, you know? And yeah, Tom moved with a new organization. And I want to point out that the Packers drafted a quarterback, Jordan Love, this past year. So the fire maybe was a little bit on, maybe not. But Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have anything to prove, but he just proved everything. He proved that he is here. He's still top quarterback in the NFL. People were talking, of course, about Russell Wilson at the beginning of the season, Josh Allen. Everyone else faded away. The only one who's been that consistent is Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on. If Josh Allen wins this weekend, we're going to have a different conversation next week, okay? Because I think Josh Allen will deserve that MVP title too.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I just, as far as the thing,
but you're right.
The conversation, I feel that everyone is pulling for Aaron as a favorite, which of course, you know, makes sense. But and as far as getting to know his personality, actually, I heard those same things too about Aaron Rodgers, and you know, never completely fair to judge if, but actually he's been, every Tuesday he gets on the Pat McAfee show if you guys watch on YouTube. And that's actually a great place to get to know Aaron. And I've watched that, and he seems like a likable guy. I don't know him personally, but I love listening to him talk and just listen to the, Pat is obviously he's retired, listening to these two guys talk about football, and Aaron's got jokes. I love that celebration earlier this season from Key and Peele. I'm like, the announcers didn't even get it. The Hingle McCringleberry, he did the thing, So go check out that. I don't have that little graphic lined up, but you guys got to check that out. Like, he's a funny guy, and so that always makes him more likable.
Yeah, but, the Bachelor season was very long ago. Okay, this could be when Aaron was going through a tough time with the Packers, and he was like lashing out on the family. I don't know, but at that time I was like, man, that is not cool. I love Aaron. Like I know him. I'm referring to him by his first name.
Yeah, but yeah, so Aaron's a great guy. But as far as what Tom does well, I know you don't like Tom Brady, I understand, but you have to admit there's some things that he is very good at. So what are some of the things that you think that he's best at?
What isn't he good at? I think just being a leader, like bringing that leadership energy to the Bucs is what they needed. And I think he does it well. And also just spreading the ball out. You know what? I think that's another thing. But he does have 45 different weapons. So what's the technique in that? Yeah, what doesn't he do well? He's able to win games in clutch times. He's able to throw sideline balls when he knows he needs to use the clock to his advantage. He's able to also take advantage of the clock. If they're winning, he'll slow time down. I don't know how he does it, or speed it up, whatever he does. But I just think he's so good at playing the game in a way that it confuses defenses. And that's what I'm looking forward to in this matchup, is the way that they're going to play and just confuse the Packers. They're going to utilize so many different people in so many different ways. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a fun thing to see the two of them create different play schemes that revolve around that quarterback, because I think they're mainly targeting what can we do to make Aaron Rodgers nervous in the pocket? What can we do to make Tom Brady nervous in the pocket, right? What can we do to cause what we did last time to repeat, aka Bucs turning Aaron Rodgers into an interception king? You know what I mean? Like, they're both going to play off of those two things, and I think that's what's going to lead either team to victory. And I'm only choosing the Packers because of this high rise that they're on, so.
Yeah, no, I don't think you could really go wrong with either choice. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the Bucs because my guy Tom Brady's in the
we're opposite.
So we're opposite. So we oppose, like a good sports show. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But as far as what Brady does well, people always say this eyes in the back of the head. People say, oh, Brady's not a mobile quarterback. He moves on his feet like a dancer. Like, he's able to just avoid sacks and get the pass off. It's so hilarious to see so many times Tom Brady will take the sack. He'll get the pass off. It'll go like 50 yards, but he's not afraid of the sack. And that's something we saw, like, even in the Super Bowl against Jared Goff, like getting a little bit freaked out. We've seen it with, Russell Wilson this year. He's scrambling, gets a little afraid. Sometimes they just let the sack swallow them. It's not like Brady will let the sack swallow him, but he's going to get the pass off. So, it's the experience, of course, that separates him. And yeah, but, we say football is like a game of chess. Tom Brady is able to move all the pieces. He's able to change routes, and he's able to tell, set the protection and tell players what they need to do, where they need to go. He can set receivers in motion. And he could just, weave things out of a defense. So that's something that he's exceptional at. He's able to read defenses, and he knows how to pick zone coverages apart. Like, he's incredible at that. But, and then his deep passes. He was actually one of the best deep passers in the NFL this season. And I feel like that needs to be noted because a lot of Brady haters on the internet love to say, oh, he's old, he can't throw. That's actually not true. And if you go, let me get on my thing real quick, okay? And
hold on.
If you go back and look at the replays, you can see that perfectly tight spiral into the end zone. And I'm sorry, Drew Brees, but you were throwing a few ducks this weekend. Okay, I know you're getting older, but age isn't actually showing on Tom Brady. So he's still performing at an exceptional level, and he's just built different. That's how I feel about it. He's just built different. So, but of course, if there's anyone to match him, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. We got this.
Okay, I gotta know. Who are you picking to win this weekend?
Who am I picking? Ashley, did you see?
Yeah, I was reading it on the side. but I can't pop
Oh, right,
them.
right. Sorry. So someone did ask you who's winning the Super Bowl. So
No, I asked you first.
Who's winning the Super Bowl?
No, who's winning this weekend?
Oh, who's winning this weekend? I think the Bucks. Oh,
And then what about AFC?
Bills. Oh, I don't know. I know, but if like Mahomes,
Yeah, I think the same thing.
His best, really? Okay. Oh, but you pulled the Packers, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Packers Bills.
Right. Oh yeah. So this is the thing I was referencing earlier. And then this is actually one more championship. Brady will be all-time GOAT. I don't think anyone's ever going to let Brady have it. So we'll have to see.
Oh, no, he's gotten it. Okay, don't worry.
Well, there's people who say, oh, but he cheated. This was a season he cheated. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I'm a Raider fan. I know. I was there. Don't you worry.
So if you guys are interested, of course, there's a million conspiracy theories online just to discredit Tom Brady. It's all the hate. And you know what? If you succeed in life, you're just going to attract haters. So that's how it is. But we do want to, just real quick before we head off, we want to talk a little bit about some of the defensive players that are going to make a difference this week. So Devon White, he came back this past week and just made such a huge difference in the game against the Saints. If Devon White wasn't there, very likely that the Saints would have won that game. So, of course, he made the interception, but he just ran, got some sack. Like, he's incredible. And he's from LSU, shout out. But another player, Vita Vea might actually be coming back. I just saw the news. So Vita Vea is a defensive tackle for the Bucs, another exceptional player. So they have a strong defense. But there's on the Packers side, Zadarius Smith, Kevin King, Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes was the postseason tackle leader. He led tackles last week. They've only had one game.
Yeah, I know. It's like we're like all in the postseason.
Right. But the Packers, Kevin King is their best cornerback. So I think so. They might assign him to Godwin and then have Mike Evans double covered. And then if Antonio Brown's out, like, what do you have? So
Cameron Brate. Someone's got to guard that guy.
Yeah. Okay. So you have Cameron Brate, and then of course the run game has been coming up with Leonard Fournette. So, but it'll be interesting to see. We're very much looking forward to these two GOATs, and you guys know what's playing in my head when I think about Tom. So, but that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and thanks for staying up with us. We are now competing with Katie Nolan, I guess, for the best sports show on late night.
Well, late for you, not for me, but yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And yeah, just catch up with us next week. We'll be on at 7, and hopefully we'll have a really cool guest for you guys. So thank you so much.